So here's the 2016 Tucson. Problem child back in my garage here, guys. I couldn't do anything with the air conditioning system as the compressor is non-cooperative. So this is a variable displacement type compressor. Easy for me to say. Compressor. So I bought the control valve. It's a linear solenoid essentially. This is a fraction of the price of a new compressor. So since we're uncertain what the story is, perhaps the valve is hung up, it makes economical sense for me. I'm not a business entity, guys. I'm not a commercial endeavor. So I can take the time and try the economic route before the shop efficiency route, you know. So we'll change the valve. This system has 2/3 of a charge in it, I would say. And I couldn't get the remainder of the charge because I couldn't start the vehicle. So the first order of business will be to pull the remnant refrigerant that's actually in the system, and we'll take it from there, because obviously you need to remove all the refrigerant in the system before you can remove this. It's held in by a circlip. I'll show you in a minute, of course. It's held in by a circlip on the compressor. Hopefully that removes without issue, and we have the right part, supposedly the right part. So if you recall, guys, I was a bit confused in the initial video on this vehicle with respect to my relatively new scan tool not being able to access the HVAC module, and that's simply because the vehicle is offered in two different configurations: a manual air conditioning or a more sophisticated climate control. You can see the two different control heads here. If you have the climate control, the automatic air conditioning, your scan tool will be able to access that module. Honestly, I wasn't expecting this development, guys. Hook up my gauges, it's empty. So clearly there is still a leak. Not that that mattered last week from a compressor standpoint, because I had enough pressure in the system set and let you get the compressor to operate, but in any case there is an ongoing leak, which did not find last week. So looks like I'm back to the leak search stage. I'm going to pressurize the system here, let it set and stabilize, and then we'll see if we can find where the leak is, because there was little more than a little puff of pressure in the system when I hooked up the couplers. So yeah, that's unfortunate. Okay, with the system pressurized, about 109 pounds, both low and high side here, guys. I'll let this stabilize for a wee bit, then we'll come back and perform a leak check. And I guess last week I did have a very small decay, which I had written off as just temperature variation, you know, affecting the pressure, because it was quite cold yesterday. It's 20 degrees today, really humid, but 20 degrees at the end of the summer here, beginning of the fall, I guess, September, late September. And yeah, we'll see. Again, I'll let this stabilize for a wee bit, and then we'll come back and perform the leak check proper. So I just started the leak check here, tightness test on the system here, guys. So we have the start pressure in the system, the current pressure in the system, and the elapsed time, and the differential pressure. Yeah, we'll see if the leak presents itself or not. I don't know, we'll see. So 11 minutes into it, guys, it says I've lost 0.3 psi. Okay, perhaps this isn't a temperature you know, stabilization effect in the pressure. We'll see. I'm going to leave it for a longer period of time this time, but because the leak was so obvious on the suction line there last week, I jumped to the conclusion, and this is probably a rookie mistake on my part, full disclosure, fully admit it. Because you find a leak doesn't mean it's the only leak. 52-minute mark here, guys. You can see I've lost almost 2 psi. That's clearly too much in under an hour. I don't think I can write that off as you know, expansion or contraction due to temperature variation. So one of the very first things you're going to want to do, guys, because this is a clutchless compressor, the pulley is driving constantly, right? So one of the very first things you're going to want to do is actually check the the coupling between the pulley and the drive shaft on the compressor is designed to shear out in the event of a seizure. So obviously the pulley would continue to spin in order to maintain the integrity of the accessories on the belt drive system, of course, right? So that appears to be okay. I'm going to change that belt, and so I'm going to get a closer look at that a wee bit later, but it appears to be okay. By the way, I always wondered, well, with variable displacement compressors, how come some of them have clutches and some of them don't, when you can basically null the displacement? What's the point of a compressor? Well, the point is, if you have a breach in the system, like this car did, and you lose all the refrigerant, there's no refrigerant to circulate the oil, the refrigerant oil with the system, meaning there's no cooling to the compressor and there's no lubrication, because it is running all the time, even though it might be the displacement might be near zero. It's never zero. There's always a wee bit of displacement in order to maintain that circulation, as I said, for primarily for lubrication, but cooling of the compressor as well. If you don't have that clutch, when the pressure drops below threshold of operation, like this one, this will continue to run with no refrigerant, no oil circulation, and I don't think you need to be a genius with that spells for this compressor in all likelihood. The Schrader valves there are both full of refrigerant oil, because somebody will ask. Yeah, they're not leaking. Okay, so here I'm at the, I've removed the underside plastic. Too bad I didn't do this 2 days ago. Watch the center of the compressor here. Watch the pulley. The index mark there, and then the fastener on the coupling. There's no drive to the compressor. The shear out hub is sheared. Doesn't look like it. You see the rubber around here? I thought that would have let go on the inside. No. You can see, obviously, internally, I start the car, the center, the drive shaft for the compressor is sheared out. So, again, it's no really a surprise, guys, on these clutchless compressors. I mean, I say it's no surprise now that I've found it, but if you reason it out logically, this is a clutchless compressor, meaning that when you lose the refrigerant, again, I said it before, when you lose the refrigerant, if there's a breach in the system, because it's clutchless, this continues to run. This drive shaft will continue to spin inside. There's always some degree of displacement from this compressor when it's actually spinning, of course, right? But there's the answer for why we don't have any compression. It's sheared out. Why is it sheared out? It's likely seized. Why is it likely seized? Because there was a breach in the refrigerant line. It's probably internally seized the compressor. And again, the point to this shear out here on the hub is so that it maintains the integrity to the rest of the drive system, which I assume is likely the, you know, the alternator, the water pump. Is this electric steering? I don't know. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Your alternator, your water pump, your power steering pump in some cases, and yeah, the idlers up there mean nothing, but certainly your alternator and your water pump are critical parts of your vehicle. So in the event this shears, so that the entire drive doesn't, you know, seize and obviously snap the belt, this shears out in order to maintain the integrity of the drive to the rest of the accessories. This is a long way to go to find this. I was reluctant to remove all this under tray is all smashed to bits. It's all over there. So like everything else, it's all rusted up. You know, you're reluctant to touch it, but I really should have done this in the first place, and it would have been obvious why there's no compression, there's no drive. Yeah, so said, so done. Okay, keep an eye on the index. Actually, let me zoom you right up so you can actually see the nut as well on the drive shaft of the compressor. Go ahead, start it, Lisa. I really do wish I had taken this under tray off to start with, guys, because now I can see a great deal more. I can see the whole story in front of me here now. So I'm on the drive here of the compressor. I was expecting this to be seized, right? It's not. So the compressor isn't seized internally, so I stopped it. Well, I think I have a theory on what stopped it. When this line was changed by a previous attempt to fix the air conditioning system, you can see here, guys, where this line is touching. This is the root cause of all this evil, I think, where this is actually contacting. You can see there's actually tracer dye here. It gushed its refrigerant out, right? So the vehicle was serviced by a fella previous to me, and then it was completely, it had a massive leak and was completely inoperative after that. The leak was absolutely massive. Like, I could hear it. It was so bad. It would be obvious to just about anybody who was actually trying to find the leak. But there's more to the story now. No, there's no compression. So there's a massive leak and there's no compression. So now people are a bit more inclined to walk away and give up, right? Okay, so why is there no compression? As I said, you can see here the pulley is clearly decoupled from the drive shaft. Keep in mind, this is a clutchless compressor, guys, right? It's variable displacement clutchless compressor. So it's not seized. How come it decoupled? I think this compressor was slugged at some point in time. Why do I think it was slugged? I found my leak here. I was thinking, okay, I don't have any compression, but I still have a massive leak. You see that? The case is burst on this compressor. Check this out. So by finally getting around to taking this under tray off, I've kind of came to the conclusion of the obvious here. See that? There you go. That's the leak I was looking for. That is a pretty massive active leak, right? You can see it. I mean, you can see the crack, how deep it is. It's obvious. That's the issue. So my buddy says to me, that owns this vehicle, okay, if it's not the valve, can you say definitively it's the compressor? Well, I said to him, well, I don't know about that. This was a couple of days ago when I was discussing it with him, right? And so why I had no compression and why I had a leak was puzzling me. Two different issues, right? But they're really not different issues with respect to what component is at fault. There's no drive because of the shear out, and you can see the case is burst. I suspect this compressor has been slugged. And some of the cynics will say, I did it, right? If you recall, I put in 2/3 of a measure of refrigerant in this, but I put it in the high side, guys. Let me show you where the high side coupling actually is. You don't use liquid refrigerant to service a vehicle, right? Well, on the high side here, where does this actually go? This is the liquid line, right? Meaning this is the line out the condenser here. So when I put the liquid refrigerant in here, how is it going to get to the compressor before it goes all through the rest of the system, overspills the condenser into the discharge line? Yeah, that's just not happening with 300 grams of refrigerant, right? So, I mean, I guess anything in the universe is possible, but I don't think so. Why do I not think so? Because my pal who owns this truck said that the belt was squealing before. It's not the belt squealing. It's the coupler on the compressor that's squealing, right? There's metal on metal there, basically. That's where the squeal is coming from. It's not the belt. Although the belt is tired, it's probably the original belt. It's 9 years old. So I'm going to wrap up this video for now, guys, because this compressor is pretty effed up. As you can see, no drive and a case is split. There's no redeeming this compressor. And so I'll have to discuss it with him. But at least I've came a finding. It was starting to test my patience because I wasn't able to find that leak anywhere in the system. I was not looking at the compressor case apart from the seals. It's not the seals. The compressor case itself has been burst. That's it for now, boys. Stay tuned if my pal wants to put a compressor in this. Cheers.